since we all know that India and Iran shares a historic bond of friendship and cordial relations, despite U.S. sanctions on Iran, both the countries move forward with the development of the Chabahar port. So the Chabahar port can be a game changer as a new strategic trade route to the Central Asia that was long blocked by the bitter relations with Pakistan. So India's strategic connect through Chabahar port to international north-south transport corridor, where Azerbaijan is a key country due to its strategic location. Azerbaijan can easily import and export and greatly benefited from the goods in reduced prices from the two major economies, especially India and China. And other nations such as Russia, Europe, and some Gulf nations to the ambit of the international north-south transport corridor. By connecting Chabahar port, Azerbaijan will emerge as a key transport hub and will reduce shipping cost and the time of delivery. So let me shed some more on this, that after becoming the part of international north-south transport corridor in 2005, Azerbaijan has developed the roads, railways network and seaport especially on a fast pace. Azerbaijan will be a key strategic partner as I can take one example here, the Baku-Tbilisi-Batumi transnational rail connections that is being constructed under the Trans-Caspian international transport route, which makes the western corridor of international north-south transport corridor the most crucial aspect of India's strategic interest. So the construction of vast railway connectivity with the help of Russia will also add to the more economic incentives in the near future. And despite we all know that historically Azerbaijan's relations with Iran and India were not so fruitful due to former support to Armenia but the changing strategic dimensions of trade, commerce and connectivity will overshadow these kind of phenomena, as we have the example of economic integration of Europe in the form of European Union, where the differences among the European countries were much higher and deep. So I believe that this port connectivity with different regions will be a game changer not only for Azerbaijan but the nations and the regions involved in it. And let me shed some light on the US sanctions that US put sanction on Iran. What I think that diplomatically when India was in this kind of the wet water earlier, and India is having a different stand on its foreign policy, when we see that previously US also gave the approval and concession to the Chabahar port, and I strongly believe that this port connectivity will not only beneficial for the western nations but to the whole of the Central Asia, to the Gulf nations, to the other part of the world. US is also going to be benefited by this kind of trade, and because at some circles it is being seen as a counter to the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative. So Azerbaijan is a key country in all this connectivity project.
Today we'll discuss about the benefits of a north-south transport corridor to both Azerbaijan and India. If we see, Azerbaijan has become Europe's key supply chain hub amid the Russia-Ukraine war. Goods can be transported through ships from ports in Bulgaria and Romania to Georgia and Turkey, where they are loaded onto trains and transported to the Baku port. From there, the goods can be shipped to China via Kazakhstan's Aktau port, to Central Asia via Turkmenistan's Turkmenbashi port, or to West Asia, India, and South Asia via the INSTC, that is the International North-South Transport Corridor. This route is from Iran's Anzali port, which then leads to Bandar Abbas port on the Persian Gulf. Additionally, it provides Europe with an alternative transportation route for energy resources from Central Asia, especially since the traditional routes through Russia or West Asia are vulnerable to geopolitical tensions and disruptions, which we are already experiencing now. If we see the trade between Azerbaijan and India has increased substantially in recent years, which was from 50 million US dollars in 2005 to 1.882 billion US dollars in 2022. India is among Azerbaijan's top 5 trade partners. India's main exports to Azerbaijan are rice, electronics, electrical equipment, cereals, pharmaceuticals, machineries, boilers, nuclear reactors, ceramic products, agricultural and forestry tractors, vaccines, and black tea. At the same time, crude oil accounts for 98% of Azerbaijan's export to India. India can help Azerbaijan diversify its hydrocarbon dependence by partnering the food processing, pharmaceutical, and technological sectors. There is significant potential for further growth between India and Azerbaijani trade through the INSTC's Western route, which provides a faster, more cost-effective transportation option for goods. Trade between the two countries can increase through this trade route. For instance, the completion of the Rast-Astra railway line will reduce transit time along the INSTC's western route to 10 days from the current 25 to 30 days, which means almost a month, and even support the inclusion of the Chabahar port in Iran in the INSTC. Both countries are also exploring new areas for engagement, such as tourism. The commencement of direct flights between New Delhi and Baku by Indigo Airlines, which is the Indian Airlines, has seen an increase in the number of tourists traveling between the two countries. Notably, the people of Azerbaijan perceive India as a constructive power in the region. Uh, India has stressed the development of reliable, resilient, and diversified supply chains that will require full connectivity and complete right to transit across Eurasia. And of course, ensuring robust linkages between India and other regions, including Europe, is essential to promote sustained economic growth and prosperity for India and Eurasia. But when we talk about any transportation route, it is not without hurdles or without any difficulties. Of course, in the initial stages, any transportation route will face difficulties and hurdles. There are many restrictions, whether political or rules of laws, or many others like terrorism or many other safety security reasons. If we see whether it's a Belt and Road Initiative of China or the CPEC, which is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or the newly initiated India-Middle East Europe Transport Corridor, they are not without hurdles. We have seen recent, which is going on, the fight between Israel and Palestine. So that already created a hurdle between India, Middle East, and Europe transport corridor. Even if we see the history of Silk Route, in the initial stages, it was not without difficulties. But when it succeeded, we are today joining as a one world because of Silk Route. World came together historically. It played an important part in bringing the world together. Even any other route today, which is being taken, initiatives of different routes which I've just mentioned, if it works properly, it will give benefits not only to the countries involved, but also to the people living in that area, in those cities and the villages and urban and rural areas, which will be a part of these transportation corridors. If it works well, whether it's financial or political reasons or security reasons, if they work well, people in those areas and the countries coming in these routes can take full advantage of their geopolitical locations.